Hi, this is Joe again with another movie review. And the topic we're going to be doing for this video is going to be discussing another, which I haven't done for a while. Discuss a musical. We want to discuss movie musicals that won the Academy Award, Best Picture. So I haven't done one, that I like that hasn't won an Academy Award for Best Picture. Because this one, man. I guess the movie that won, which was Gigi, 1958. I already did a review for that. Haven't got too many hits on that one, but I think this one I might hopefully get more views on this. It's because of 1958 Rodgers and Hammerstein's musical South Pacific, and yes, this is the old VHS version because everything now is a DVD and Blu-ray. One of the stores was on Brazzi, Missy Gino, John Kerr, Ray Wilson, Renina Hill, the France Nguyen, I guess that's how her name is pronounced. Those of you who don't know this particular film, this is based on the Rodgers and Hammerstein Broadway musical. And of course, this is based on, or actually originally, the Mitsugino role, which you see on the lady on the cover here. Her part was originally played by Mary Moore, though you don't know who she is. She was a big Broadway star, and the mother of the guy who, Larry Hagman, who was played J.R. Ewing in Dallas. That's who Mary Moore is, but I guess she wasn't all that full. Young enough to do the movie, or at least young enough to do the film. So they have Missy Gino on there. But when you go on the movie, it is based on the James Michener novel Tales of the South Pacific. That's what South Pacific is based on. Those who don't know the story, it is based. It is mostly the two people on the cover was Brazzi and Missy Gino. That's one of the two storylines that's in this movie, and like a lot of the Rodgers and Hammerstein musicals, thinking the other one they saw bits and parts of, which was Flower Drum Song and South Pacific, and maybe a little bit in Sound of Music, and they draw the racism in your face, playing up the racism angle. And South Pacific is more blatant with the racial thing than any of the other works they've done. When the story is actually the point of view of John Kerr's character, and that's where the movie starts off with. And he plays a GI or Marine named Lieutenant Cable, and he goes to the South Pacific Island. And it wasn't really mentioned. I know about the Broadway show because I never saw the original Broadway show, but in the film we never mentioned what island they actually were in. It just but the film was filmed in Hawaii, but it wasn't really mentioned what Pacific Island they were in. But it's in an area where the Japanese started to move from their country to Japan across the Pacific. So some of the islands, or nearby islands, were controlled by the Japanese. And this particular island, or group of island chain they're in, was controlled by the Americans. And Lieutenant Cable's job was to recruit the Silent Frosty character playing Emil DeBeck, the guy who's on the cover, because he knows the area, he knows all the islands, and figure if they get his help, he will track where all the Japanese are and give them information on the Japanese movements in that island chain. And well, you have that storyline going on, you had the main storyline, which is Missy Gino playing Nurse Nellie Forbush falls in love with a French planter, one of the French planters is there, Emile DeBeck. And he escaped from France after killing a guy, and he does explain what happened, because he stood up to a bully who was in his hometown in France, and they went to challenge him, saying, "When do we fight this guy?" And we said, "Oh, they didn't want to do it because we were staying behind him," and they got into a fight, and the Emil Trebek character hit him, knocked him down, and this bully, this guy, hit his head on a rock and was killed. So because of that, he decided to leave France and went to the South Pacific and a cargo ship, and then in the South Pacific. And so they ended up falling in love with the Navy nurse. And the other subplot, of course, was Lieutenant Cable said, trying to recruit him. So when they actually did have a sit down at the Emil Trebek, he says, "Oh, I don't want to do it because you let these bullies." I always fought against bullies my whole life, and I've seen these bullies multiply and grow strong, and the will set by and let it happen. Referring to, of course, to Hitler, of course, which they never mentioned Hitler or the Nazis or the Japanese, but it's implied. Of course, at first he turned them down, and of course the other side plot, the subplot, was Ray Walsh's character, who played a character named Luther Billis, who, along with Renita Hall as Bloody Mary, they had all the comedic scenes in the film. And there's like a little bit of a rivalry going on with Billis and Bloody Mary in the very beginning of the film, because Billis trying to get over to this other island called Bali High, because a lot of the women are. And because a lot of the women will move, as soon as they found out what the GIs were going to be coming and staying there on the base on this particular island, so they moved to Bali High, so they were going to meet a couple of ladies and have some fun and get laid, So you had that, but couldn't get a boat to go over because he's not an officer. So after initially when Emil Trebek turned them down, Lieutenant Cable for Luther, Ray Wilson guy for Nagel. Lieutenant Cable to get a boat. So okay, we'll go on this boat. We go over to Bali High, and it turns out that Bloody Mary was obsessed with Lieutenant Cable because she felt that he was a good match for this girl. Maybe French Nangin, whatever that name is pronounced. Reality than Leah, the character Leah in the film. And it turns out that Bloody Mary was Leah's mother. And says, "Oh, you want to marry her?" And of course, she does no, what Bloody Mary does. They say, "Oh, I want you to get married. I want you to marry my daughter. And you make special babies." Of course, it means you have intermixed babies, biracial babies. This kind of turns Lieutenant Cable off because he didn't want it. At first, he didn't want a biracial children. I mean, he does love the girl. I mean, not saying that he doesn't love the girl, but it's one thing to love her, to have a good time with this girl. Another thing to actually settle down with her in terms of getting married and having biracial children. He didn't want that. So at first he breaks it off. And of course, when Mary gets upset, it's when Leah fell in love with him as well. So you have that going on. And the other story with Nellie Forbush and Emil Trebek, she finds out that he after he got to the islands that they were in, he married a Polynesian girl and had two biracial children, one boy and one girl. And as soon as Nellie found out about it, she broke off their relationship. because she got freaked out by it. So of course they broke it off, and then that's when Emil DeBeck decided to, do this thing with the Navy, and but I don't want to give away what happens to the two of them. I'm talking about Lieutenant Cable and Emil DeBeck's character, because both of them went to Marie Louisiana and to spy on the Japanese. And I don't want to ruin it for anybody in case if anybody wants to see the movie on Netflix or wherever else. But it turns out a musical, I think it's definitely one of the better musical films. Anybody who says otherwise doesn't know what they're talking about, especially from not only from a storyline standpoint, but also from a technical standpoint. Because don't forget, this is 1958. This is not 2014. Because the movie was made today, we will have CGI. In terms of the technical side of the film, and what I'm talking about is that throughout the film, every time there was a song, or when they perform a song, they did like a kind of like a wipes on the film, and they changed the color scheme. Like here, I think, for example, if I do this for this video, instead of talking about they're changing it to blue, and then eventually to red, and then eventually to yellow, doing the various songs during the film. But and then it happened in every single case. Particularly one particular case where they had the big Thanksgiving sale for the GIs, or Thanksgiving show they put on for the GIs. They didn't do this effect, but for like the first half of the film, they did that effect, and it kind of worked out. And didn't do it to the second half of the film. But the first half they did, and that's what made South Pacific really a unique look because of those effects. And that's what really sold the film for me. And I used to see South Pacific going almost all the time on regular television. Particularly on the weekend, like a Saturday or a Sunday, one of the local channels would put it on. And the very when New York City had 3 syndicated or independent stations in those days. Now there aren't any independent stations in New York City anymore. Because there's some kind of affiliate with somebody. But in terms of the film, to me, it is one of the better films, and I do put the racial, like I said earlier in the story review, you do put the racial angle in your face about it. Rodgers and Hammerstein had a habit of doing a racial thing or a racist thing in almost every one of their musicals. They did with Sound of Music with the Nazis. They did, I think also they did with Flower Drum Song. Not so much a carousel, but it's almost implied in almost every one of their films, and also in Oklahoma a little bit in terms of class structure almost. But in terms of ratio between cowboys, performers, and cowboys in Oklahoma. In Oklahoma, I think races between cowboys and farmers. But mostly everybody in all the other musicals were white, and then except for Flower Drum Song in South Pacific. But South Pacific really threw the racial angle in your face. And if like movies that deal with racism in your face, you might not like South Pacific. But you have to realize that the times were different, and they didn't really use the racial angle all that much at that time. The movie came out in 1958, before the whole civil rights movement began in the 60s. So it was really, a unique film, a unique musical at the time, because it very few times it dealt with that subject matter. But in terms of the film, it was really great, and also you have great two actors, those of you who are into trivia in terms of musicals, Ray Walston plus forgot the actor's name, but the guy who played the captain in the film. The two of them, Ray Walston and this other actor, co-starred together in the movie version and I think also the Broadway version of Damn Yankees. So you have the two of them together again 4 years later. Because Damn Yankees came out in 1954 and the movie version of South Pacific came out in 58. So you have the two of them acting together. Of course, they had one of the funniest lines and funniest scenes was when after they try to get the freshman and Joe Cable on the silent. Ray Walsh's character sneaks aboard, throws away the board, and after that incident happened, he almost got court-martialed for it. And the captain says, "Get out of here! Get out of here!" After he wants to get aggravated so much, he yells at him, like, "Get the hell out of here!" And of course, he ran out of the captain's office. It was one of the funny. That's why he said that Ray Walston and Benita Hill, at least for most of the film, came up with the funniest stuff. Remember Benita Hall, excuse me, not Benita Hall. For the first part of the film was the comedic angle, because you do have two very serious stories going on. But after a while, Benita Hill became, or Bloody Night character became more of a serious character instead of in the beginning of the film, which is more for comedic relief in the beginning of the film, because South Pacific does deal with some serious, heavy-duty stuff, and there's always usually one character in almost every one of the musicals, especially ones that deal with a serious subject matter, to provide comic relief. And Benita Hall did that. She did it very, very, very well. Along the way, Ray Walston, he also provided a lot of comic relief. And even by the end of the film, Ray Walston was still doing comic relief. In terms of with the big scene when they had the Thanksgiving show for the Thanksgiving show for the GIs, he provided the biggest comic relief address there was a woman. So, and of course, actually, one of the GIs threw a door at him in the butt, and of course got a huge, big laugh. But in terms of the film, and that's of course the film, you do have some great songs in this one. I think they have the most songs of any musical Rodgers and Hammerstein that I have seen. Because in most movies they can sell, like in Sound of Music, or with Carousel, or Oklahoma, they space out the songs a lot. But that's when you have, because this movie is short, it's only like 2.5 hours. So you have, especially in the beginning of the film, you have almost one song after the other. And those of you, of course, who like musicals, you're not going to like that. But the problem with a lot of musicals in those days is that a lot of the songs made to the top list of the Billboard charts. That's how good these songs were from Rodgers and Hammerstein. But naturally, of course, in the beginning you have There's Nothing Like a Dame. You had the Valley High song. Benita Hill sings Happy Talk, which of course the scene is reenacted on the back cover of the even though they actually reversed the picture on the cover, because French English was on the right, or on the left, I should say, in the picture, and John Kerr is on the opposite side. But they reversed the picture on here, on the cover of the box. They also had one of the most controversial songs, which originally they wanted Rodgers and Hammerstein to take out. And of course, there's a song where DeBeck was the freshman could find Cable after when Nellie Forbush walks out on him, says, "I don't believe that this stuff is more than you." in terms of something about the racial prejudice was born in me. These feelings were born in me. She tells him at one point, or the Nelly Forbush tells the Frenchman at one point, and the Beck didn't believe it. So Lieutenant Cable says, it's not born in you, it happens after you're born. And of course the song turns out to be, you have to be carefully taught, which is one of the shortest, if not the shortest song in terms of time in any song in any musical that I've ever heard in my life. The song is extremely short. It's not, let's say, a 3-minute or 4-minute scene where it's just singing. And this is like, if it's a 2-minute long song, it's a lot. I mean, that's how short the song is, and it's definitely one of the highlights. For me, it's one of the highlights songs of the whole musical because the quality of that song and John Kerr's performance when he's doing that song. And of course, Mildred Beck has 2 big songs in this film. One, of course, is Summer Chats in the Evening, and I forgot what the title of the other song is. He sings at the end, after when Nelly Forbush walks out on him after the GI show. Those 2 songs are like the 2 of the big solo numbers. Because most musical movies, not just in Broadway shows, but also in the movie version as well, the biggest songs are usually for the women. Very rarely does the guy or male actor performs the biggest songs. And in one of the movie version, Rosario Brazzi performs the 2 songs. I believe he was lip-synced. They had someone else perform the songs, but he performs the two big solos in the film. And of course, there were other great performances as well. I think all the singing in the film was terrific. And one annoying thing is that the Jim character doesn't speak a hardly spoke a word of English in the film. And I think that Renita Hill and French thing didn't from it. Both sworn in the movie Cloud Drum song. About the Chinese community, I think in San Francisco, I believe it was. It's been a long time since I had a chance to see that film, so it's going to be fun knowing about Cloud Drum song that much. But in terms of South Pacific, it's definitely one of the better musicals, and it's a shame that the movie version or the Broadway show has not been on as a revival in such a long time. I can't even remember the last time that there was a revival. I think the last Rodgers and Hammerstein musical that was a revival of Broadway was Oklahoma, and I think Hugh Jackman was involved in that. Of course, was famous for playing Wolverine. I think he was involved in it. But in terms of South Pacific, it's one of the musicals that should be revised. And I think they did a great performances show on PBS with South Pacific, with actors that's reading the script and then, of course, eventually performing the songs from, I think, either not Lincoln Center, I think from Carnegie Hall, I think it was. And Reba McEntire played the Nelly Forbush role, and Alec Baldwin, a piece of crap. He can't die fast enough to satisfy me. Played the Ray Walston character, and Brian Stokes Mitchell played the Mildred Beck role. And I know who played the Joel Cable role, but he also did a good job. I mean, they all did. It was definitely a different take on it because he just reading the scripts. Brought him to an audience, a live audience, with the whole orchestra behind them. And of course, the one thing they like about Reba McEntire is because she had a French accent and she could sing. Being one of the most famous woman country music star. But I know I went on a tangent here, but there was still, I think, one of the best, and it shouldn't be overlooked. Even though other films the Rodgers and Hammerstein made won Academy Awards for Best Picture, like Sound of Music did, I think it was the only one that won for Best Picture. But South Pacific should be recognized as one of the better musical movies of all time, and all that. That's my opinion. To what it's worth. So please, in my review of South Pacific, please check it out if you haven't. Because I think anybody who likes movies, no matter if you have the musical fan or not, or Broadway musical fan or not, it's definitely one of the better musicals of all time. I feel that way. So please feel free to comment on the video. Please like it. Please subscribe to my channel. And please forward the video onto your Facebook pages. Thanks for watching and catch you next time.